Alright, so we spoke a lot last week about the clothes, and we mentioned that, and there's debate within the scholars, we mentioned that the minute you get out of the grave, you will be clothed. Because the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ mentions, right, with the one who's performing Hajj or Umrah who passes away, he said, bury them in their ihram, because they will be resurrected on that day with their ihram. Or the shaheed to be buried with their clothes. Or as Muslims, it will be a distinguishing thing for us when we get raised up in our kafan. That's how you can distinguish the believer from the non-believer on the Day of Judgment when they are resurrected. But we mentioned after that phase, and we all go to this one land. Speaking of the land, what does this land look like? We talked about it last year. This land that we're all going to be in, what does it look like?
It's like flat, all flat.
Flat.
And it's all white.
And it's all white. Now, will there be trees on this land?
No.
Will there be any markings on this land? A perfect flat land. Nobody has ever seen this land. Nobody can recognize it. There's no shade for anybody on this land. A flat land. Once we get to this land, that's when the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, once we are there, every single person will be naked. Right? And Aisha asked, Ya Rasulullah, if we're all going to be naked, wouldn't people be looking at each other? He said, nobody's worried about that on the Day of Judgment. You're going to be in so much stress. Everybody's going to be so stressed that nobody's going to be worried about anybody else on this day. Right? Now, at this point, everyone's naked. Everybody's on the same level. Clothes serve an obvious function. What would you say clothes, the main function of clothes are? What is the main function? To cover. Right? But here in this dunya, in this world, clothes also serve many different functions as they distinguish rank between us. Right? They distinguish honor, what kings and queens wear, and what, rulers of the world wear, and what different people. It puts us in classes almost. That's why when we go to Hajj, when we do Umrah, right, we're all wearing the kafan, we're all wearing the ihram, we're all wearing the same exact thing. No distinction. But this world and this dunya, clothes is what distinguishes us, many of us. And listen to this. On the Day of Judgment, our clothes that we wear on the Day of Judgment will be sewn with our deeds. On the Day of Judgment, our clothes will be sewn with our deeds. And it's mentioned in the Quran, the different kinds of clothes that people will wear on the Day of Judgment. Right? For example, libas al-taqwa, the garments of piety. Those who have piety will have their own garments on the Day of Judgment. Now here's this. And even in the Quran it mentions about the spouse. How a married couple, they conceal for each other. They beautify each other, right? Libas, right? You are concealing for one another. Now here's this beautiful analogy. The needles which you sew your garment on the Day of Judgment is the hours and minutes. You know how a clock has needles for hour and minutes? The needles which you sew your garments on the Day of Judgment will be how you spend your hours and minutes on this dunya. That's what matters, how you spend your time. Based on how you spend your time, that will be based on the clothes and the garments Allah places for you on the Day of Judgment. Especially when a day where everybody else is naked, you get to determine what you wear based on how you spend your time. So while you're living here, as the hours and minutes pass by, you are sewing your garments for the Day of Judgment, inshallah. And may we be all clothed on the Day of Judgment of good clothes. Ameen. Now, the Prophet ﷺ said, Salama saw the Prophet ﷺ in a dream. And he was telling her, how many people, Ya Salama, in this dunya are dressed so well, with the best of clothes, but in the akhirah will not find a single thing to wear. How many people? With the best of clothes on this dunya, but on the Day of Judgment they won't find anything to wear. And the order we get our clothes on the Day of Judgment, the order we get covered up in, is based on your righteousness and based on your piety. Who will be the first person who's clothed? Who do we say? Ibrahim. Why Ibrahim? Ibrahim alayhi salam will be the first person clothed because we mentioned a few different points. But the main point is that he was stripped naked in front of all his people and thrown into the fire. The humility he had to face at such a young age. And on the day of judgment, Allah will place him in front of all of humanity. From the day Adam was created till the last person, He will place Ibrahim in front of them, and He will give Ibrahim special garments, clothes Ibrahim with special garments that nobody has ever seen before. The honor, this is honor for our father Ibrahim alayhi salam. Now, there's different tiers of what we wear, the Prophet ﷺ said, right? Now here's this. من لبس ثوب شهرة في الدنيا ألبسه الله ثوبا مذلة يوم القيامة. Whomever wears something pretentious, a pretentious garment in this life, Allah will have a garment of humiliation for him on the day of judgment. A garment of humiliation. What does that mean? It means, you know when you're going out with some friends or whatever, and you can't wear certain things, you're like, nah, I'm going to be humiliated in front of everybody. Right? Same deal. When you're wearing something for show in this dunya, purely for that purpose, Allah on the day of judgment will have a garment for you where you will be humiliated in front of everybody. But on the contrary of that, من ترك اللباس تواضعا لله وهو يقدر عليها. Whoever leaves that expensive clothes, even though he can afford it, even though him or her has the money to buy it, whoever leaves that, من ترك, leaves it, right? دعاه الله يوم القيامة. Allah will call him on the day of judgment. على رؤوس الخلائق, in front of every single person, every head of a human being will be able to witness this, right? حتى يخيره من أي حلل الإيمان شاء يلبسها. And he will give him an option, anything from purified faith. He tells him, you wear any of these garments, these are the garments of faith, you get to choose. Meaning, does this mean we can't wear nice clothes in this dunya? Does that mean we can't wear nice clothes?
No.
Because the hadith says what? مَنْ تَرَكَ اللِّبَاسَ طَوَالًا. Whoever leaves nice and expensive clothes. Does this mean we can't wear nice clothes? No, but Allah wants us. In fact, Allah wants us to wear nice clothes. Allah wants us to use the bounty, the blessing, the money that He's given us to wear to present ourselves. There's a man during the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. He was walking around in a thobe that was fully just all holes and tearing up and everything. Prophet ﷺ said, come here. What are you doing, bro? What's wrong with you? I know you got money. You're one of the richest in Medina. I know you got it. Go use your money that Allah gave you and wear something nice with it. He didn't say go buy the most expensive garment. He didn't say go buy that Louis Vuitton, the Gucci, or whatever it was, whatever they got at the time, right? But he said, wear something nice. Cover yourself up because you're a Muslim. As a mu'min, you should. With everything that we do, we should be the best at everything that we do. But this hadith is referring to the one who splurges, especially on name brands and designers that is outrageously overpriced. And not even just that, but they're doing it for the sake of people. Yani what? Sister just got a new bag in her Benz, posted a little bag, mashallah, Louis Vuitton, so everybody on her story can see. Brother just pulled up with the new Christian Dior shirt, got to post it up on the story, make sure everybody know I'm wearing Christian Dior. Right? But people it's serious, let's think about it, let's be serious here. A lot of us are buying this stuff for what? The validation of others, it's not really just for us. Because really, if it was for us, we'd just stick with one pair of shoes instead of 10. Myself, right? Like, this advice is to me before I give it out to anybody, because it's true. It's completely true. Right, Kinana? Yes. Kinana earlier was sending me a bunch of shoes he was trying to buy. Inshallah, may you get blessed with all the shoes. Inshallah. And here's another thing, what this hadith is referring to. This hadith is referring to also the one, especially the man who wears silk. مَنْ تَرَكَ شَيْءٍ تَوَاضِعًا لِلَّهِ. Silk is something that's very prestigious. Silk is very nice. Silk is very expensive, right? But whoever leaves it, as a man, it's haram for us to wear silk. So whoever leaves that for the sake of Allah, Allah will dress him on the day of judgment. From any articles, any garments of faith that he chooses. Bi-idhnillah. May Allah allow us to be some of those. So as Muslims, we need to have that balance in everything that we do. We know when to go all out and when not to go all out. And always check yourself, what's the reason I'm doing this for? Is it for everybody else or is it for me? Right? Now, while we're still on the topic of clothes, the Quran. I don't know how many hafiz we have, but I'm going to use Mohid, inshallah, because he's a hafiz. MashaAllah. On the Day of Judgment, the Quran will go to Allah. The Quran will go to Allah and it will tell Allah, Ya Allah, this person memorized me. This person used to recite me. This person right here used to live by these words. So please place a crown over his head. And Allah will place a crown over this person's head. And he will say, the Quran won't stop there. The Quran will say, Ya Allah, wait a second. Place garments, beautiful garments on this person. Clothe him on the Day of Judgment. And Allah will place a beautiful suit on this person on the Day of Judgment. This is the Quran fighting for you on the Day of Judgment. To the one who's memorized the Quran and truly lives by it and truly recites it and reflects upon the words, right? And not even on top of that, your parents will get placed with a crown and beautiful garments on the Day of Judgment. And they'll ask Allah, what is this? What did I do? So no, this is for the fact that you raised a young son and a young daughter and they memorized the Quran. This is because of your hard work. Even honor for the parents, right? The Quran will clothe you. Your sadaqah will clothe you on the Day of Judgment, inshallah. And the last two hadith I want to mention about clothes. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned, مَا مِن مُؤْمِنٍ يُعَزِّي أَخَاهُ بِمُصِيبَةٍ إِلَّا كَسَاهُ اللَّهُ سُبْحَانَهُ مِنْ حُلَلِ الْكَرَامَةِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. There is no believer, yu'azzi, the word yu'azzi, no believer who consoles. In Libyan Arabic, or most Arabic we say, you go to a azah for what? As a funeral, you go to pay condolences off to your Muslim brother or sister who have passed away. Now, there is no Muslim, yu'azzi, another Muslim who goes and consoles another Muslim, right? Except that Allah on the Day of Judgment, إِلَّا كَسَاهُ اللَّهُ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى مِنْ حُلَلِ كَرَامَةِ يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ, that Allah will place noble garments on them on the Day of Judgment. Even if you know them or you don't know them, you go and do that. Yes?
What does console mean?
Console me as in like you're with them, you're around them, you're there for them. You're not just there saying, we'll see you tomorrow, inshallah. See you on campus. No. You're there, yo, what can I help with? You need me to pass around the bread, you need me to pass around the tea, you need me to give dates. What can I do? Do you need any money? What can I help with? Right? It's not just, oh yeah, sorry for your loss, you know, no, it's not just that. But you gotta take that extra step, you know? So there's one. So just the fact that you do that for your Muslim brother or sister, Allah will clothe you with special garment. And the last hadith I want to mention about garments. The Prophet ﷺ said, أَيُّمَا مُسْلِمٍ كَسَى مُسْلِمًا ثَوْبًا عَلَى عُرِّ كَسَاهُ اللَّهُ مِنْ خُضْرِ الْجَنَّةِ. Whenever a believer, now this is important because this has to do with an announcement we're going to make today. As a Muslim, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever gives clothes to another Muslim in need, كَسَى مُسْلِمًا ثَوْبًا, whoever gives clothes to another Muslim in need, Allah on the Day of Judgment, He didn't just say noble garments like the other hadith, or beautiful, no, He said green garments min al-Jannah. Garments from al-Jannah. Now with that being said, I'm going to deviate a little bit. We have, I believe, Sister Ritaj is doing a clothes drive for the victims and the people in Libya. Now, you would have to get in contact with her. I don't know the full details, but you can get in contact with her. I know many of us have posted on our stories. We'll get masks posted on the story as well, inshallah. And if you have any extra clothes that don't fit you or that you'd like to donate, inshallah, and they're all going to go to Libya for the victims who have passed away. Allah yarhamhum. I believe the death tolls have even reached 10,000. May Allah forgive them. Wa yarhamhum, inshallah. Ameen. And same with our brothers and sisters in Morocco. And even if you don't want to send to Libya, right? There is brothers here, our Burmese community here is in need. Our Afghani refugees, Syrian refugees, they're all in need, that live here in Colorado, that we can help out, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. So remember, whoever, ayyuma muslimin, I didn't say this, the Prophet Muhammad said this, kasa muslimin thawban, whoever gives another Muslim garments of clothes to cover them up, to help them, to keep them warm, whatever it is, right? Kasallahu min khudri al-Jannah. Allah will give him clothes and garments of Jannah. May Allah allow us to be from those. Ameen. Now, Enough about clothes, inshallah. Now it's time to switch gears. Bi-idhnillah. I'm going to talk about a few different things that happen that is occurring to people on the Day of Judgment. Now, we mentioned a few of them last week. What is happening to the person who doesn't pay zakat on his land?
The snake.
No, don't go that far, Ali. Yes. The land will be hot and poured over his head. This is the person who doesn't pay. Now, this is happening on the Day of Judgment before what? Before what? Before Allah even comes and judges us. And there will be the person who had property, many different properties, and he used to take it from other people. Those properties didn't belong to him. On the Day of Judgment, he will be drowning like quicksand in that property. Now today I'm going to mention a little bit more about, the book that I'm going based off of is so detailed. If I spent just maybe, it would probably take me 6 to 8 months to cover just these scenarios that different people will be facing. Because it's so detailed, so many ahadith and ayat that refer to this. So I only chose a couple topics that I feel like maybe we can relate to, especially in our community. Now Umar radiallahu anhu said, عليكم بذكر الله فإنه شفاء إياكم وذكر الناس فإنه داء. Umar radiallahu anhu said, make sure you're constantly making dhikr of Allah. Why? Because it is shifa, it is cure. But be careful of talking about others, because it's a disease. Because it's a disease. Realize, and Umar radiallahu anhu used to say this too, من كثر كلامه كثر سقطه. Whoever speaks a lot, talks a lot, especially about things that don't benefit him or anybody else, right? كثر سقطه. His downfall will be greater. The more you talk, the bigger your downfall. The more you speak, especially about others, with things that don't matter, even if it's not about anybody else, but just talking about random things that have no benefit, the bigger your downfall. And especially when you talk too much, you will get caught up in a lot. You're going to get caught up, especially when you're talking to somebody who's going to contradict you. I have a friend, wallahi al-azim, he's out to get everybody. I swear to you, he will let you talk and then ask you a contradictory question, and now you're just sitting there like, trying to weave your way back, especially if you've been lying. And he's just so good at it. He'll be able to just, and he's so serious with you, right? So the more you talk, the more you have the ability to slip up, and the more you're going to be wasting your time. Now, the thing about the tongue can damage so much in this dunya, your tongue. Your tongue can damage so much of this dunya. But really the biggest thing you're damaging is your akhirah. That's the biggest thing you're hurting. You could hurt, wallahi, the tongue can paralyze communities. Communities. Of one person speaking bad, they can paralyze an entire community. The tongue can ruin people's careers, people's reputation and honor, just simply by people speaking. But truly, at the end of the day, all the chaos and damage you cause in this world by your tongue, you're ruining your akhirah before anything else. You're the cause of that. And the flip side of that, the tongue can be something so beautiful where you can say something so light. It means nothing. You can say something, just a simple, how are you? How are you today, brother? And that could make somebody's day, that could be the means, that could be heavy on the scale on the Day of Judgment, could be the means you enter Jannah. Just by a simple few words. I remember one time I was at a restaurant and a guy came up to us and he said, what can I do for you today? I said, well, how are you doing today? He looked at me, the dude started crying. Wallahi al-azim, he started crying. He said, everybody comes and so ready to order their food, and nobody took a second to ask me how I'm doing. And if you truly want me to answer, I'm not doing good. He said, I just lost the court case. I don't have my child anymore. I got my home taken away. I got this, I got that. I'm just working. But I just got to thug it out. Just literally started crying right then and there. But all I asked was, how are you? That's it. Simple, how are you? Wallahi, by the end of it, he gave me a hug and gave me the meal for free. Because all I said, I didn't do nothing. I just said, how are you doing? That's it. On the flip side, shabab, the tongue, please. Thank you. On the flip side of that, On the flip side of that, imagine just one simple thing. Kalimatun tayyibah. Say something so sweet, so beautiful. If you don't got nothing to say about anybody, don't say it at all. If it ain't good, don't say it at all. Just be quiet. It's not going to benefit you. It's not going to benefit them. And it's only going to hurt you in the hereafter. It's only going to hurt you. Now the Prophet ﷺ mentioned some very scary hadith in regards to the tongue. لما عرج بي مررت بقوم لهم أطفال من نحاس. The Prophet ﷺ said, when I was on the trip of Al-Isra al-Mi'raj, I passed along a group of people who had tongues or who had nails like the nails of copper. Long nails. But they're nails of copper. Right? You know what a penny is made out of? Copper. And then he says, يَخْنِشُونَ وُجُوهَهُمْ وَصُدُورَهُم. And they're scratching their faces and their chests. Scratching it completely off. Imagine, metal. Very strong and pointy and sharp. Scratching their faces off. فَقُلْتُ يَا جِبْرِيلَ مَا هَذَا? I asked Jibreel, what is going on? Who are these people? What's happening to them? And Jibreel replied to me, قَالَ هَؤُلَاءِ الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ لُحُومَ النَّاسِ. These are people, the literal translation goes, these are people who are eating the flesh of other people. And this is related to the Prophet's hadith ﷺ when he said, when you're backbiting, he heard some Sahaba backbiting in the masjid. He said, go floss your teeth. They were confused. I didn't eat, Ya Rasulullah. Would you tell me to go floss my teeth? He said, no, you're just eating the flesh of your Muslim brother right now by speaking bad about them. By speaking bad about them. So that Jibreel said, هَؤُلَاءِ الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ لُحُومَ النَّاسِ. These are people that are backbiting, that are speaking bad about people, even if it's true. Even if what they have to say is 110% correct. Even if they're a liar, even if they're a cheater, even if they're a fasiq, even if they do the biggest of sins, you're still speaking bad about them. So these are those people. وَيَقَعُونَ فِي أَعْرَاضِهِمْ. And they are the people who trample the honor of Muslims. They see somebody doing good, no, they got to speak bad about them to bring them down. They see somebody get back on the deen. I see this so often with sisters and brothers. Somebody from the group starts going on their deen, starts getting closer, then everybody else in the group starts talking smack. This guy thinks he's a chef, she thinks she's this, blah, 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 this is that. Look at her wearing hijab, look at him now wearing thobes. Yahi, you're saying this about somebody who wants to get closer, even if they weren't sincere, even if they're doing it for show, let's say. Why you gotta sit there and just take away all your good deeds and give it to them? And on the day of judgment, let's say you run out of deeds and you were backbiting, you have no good deeds. You know what they'll start doing? They'll start taking off their bad deeds and giving them to you. The power of speaking about other people. And in the hadith we mentioned a couple weeks ago, where the Prophet ﷺ saw people, what was happening to them? They were laying down to what was happening to them. What was going on with them? Those people who were laying down. He saw them in a dream. There was a man doing what to their faces? After that,
Tearing apart from
he had a hook right here on one side of the mouth, ripping everything all the way to the ear. And then he would go, this man would go to the other side and do the same thing. By the time he's done ripping this side was already healed. And when Rasulullah asked Jibreel, he said, what is this? He said, these are the people that are backbiting and ruin people's honors. This is what they do. Wallahi al-azim, we don't understand. There's a scholar, I'm not going to mention his name. He said, by Allah, it is better for you to go and drink and eat pork than it is for you to talk back behind your Muslim brother. That's how big of a sin it is. Meaning, as Muslims, if we were to drink and eat pork, it would be better for us. It would be better for us than to go and backbite other Muslims. Because you got to realize, backbiting other Muslims, that's deep rooted in here. You are so empty to the fact that you have nothing to do but speak bad about your Muslim brother and sister. That's how deep it is. And that's how severe it is. And that's why there's so many ahadith speaking about this. The Sahaba used to say, when the Prophet ﷺ used to speak about the ghibah and namimah, his face used to change. His face, his expressions used to change. Because it's not something to be taken lightly. Now, these people that are scratching their faces with copper, here's the connection the scholars have made from this. If you talk bad about somebody and you're trampling their honor, what are you doing to that person? Aren't you making it hard for that person to now show up to the masjid because you spread a rumor about them? Imagine if somebody spreads a rumor about you in school, and then the next day everybody's just staring at you as you walk in. And you're like, why is everybody looking at me? And then once you find out, you're like, I don't even want to go to this school no more. Like, I just want to disappear. You're ruining somebody's honor. You're ruining somebody's reputation, even if it's already bad. You're ruining it. And unfortunately, this is common with teenagers and youth and young professionals and college students. At our grown age, we're doing this. To each other, that's the issue, to each other. And then we ask, why is the Muslim Ummah not united? Yeah, so you tell me, you talk smack about every other Muslim. You tell me why we're not united. It's our fault. We do this to ourselves. And on the day of judgment, you're spreading all these rumors about this person, and you're shunning them. Wallahi al-Azim, I've had youth from my youth group tell me they want to stop showing up to the youth group because they hear people talk. Or just 2 weeks ago, I saw somebody at a janazah. I said, bro, where you been? I haven't seen you in forever. He said, bro, I'm tired of the Muslim community, man. All they do is talk. Somebody got shunned away and stopped showing up to the masjid because of us. Because all we do is talk. You deterred somebody from coming to even pray and be around other Muslims because of this reason. Your fault. There's people speaking about others and they haven't even met them. Wallahi, there's people speaking about others and they haven't even met them. You'll sit around in a group of guys and a guy will start talking about somebody like, bro, you don't even know who he is. You've never even met him. Why are you even talking about him? Same with sisters. They'll talk about somebody, y'all haven't even met the person. Just heard rumors from somebody else to somebody else, twisting it, and now you're ruining the other person's reputation. And trust me, what goes around comes around. And if it doesn't come in this dunya, then I pray to Allah that it comes to you in the hereafter. Just so you can understand the severity of this. Wallahi, it's not a joke. And as a punishment, because you were shunning that person from showing his face in that community, or showing her face in that community, because you did that, as a punishment for you, Allah will cause you to scratch your face off on the day of judgment. You see the relationship with that? Imagine you do that to somebody else, that's fine, do whatever you want to them in this dunya. But wait till the hereafter and see what comes to you. And the fact, and there's other hadith that speak about this, Prophet ﷺ said, the worst person is the one who you can't even correct. You know, sometimes you have that friend where you don't even want to advise them anymore. Because every time you advise them, they get mad, they start yelling at you, they start cussing at you, they start arguing with you. You're like, yeah, I'm done even talking to you, bro. Like, you don't even want to take it there, right? He said one of the worst people is the one you can't even correct anymore. You can't correct them, right? Because of their reaction. And one of the worst people, again, in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ is the one who speaks about what him and his wife did. He shares the secrets of him and his wife. Now, what's the trend between all these hadith? They relate to what? The tongue. Every single one of them. Every single hadith. And these are only 3 that I'm mentioning. There's over 25 that are considered sahih that were in every single thing had a different scenario. But I can only mention 3 inshallah tonight. You see, this trend of each single one of these persons, the people who's talking about somebody else, sharing the secrets of others, betraying others, somebody you can't even console, you can't even give advice to anymore, right? Look at their punishment on the day of judgment. On the day of judgment, they will have tongues of fire. Tongues of fire. Notice the emphasis on fire. When you violate and humiliate the honor of people, Allah will cause you to drink straight lava, straight fire on the day of judgment. And may Allah protect us. May Allah protect us. Now I know I get this comment a lot, you speak too much about adab. Okay, let's talk about the good now, inshallah. The Prophet ﷺ said, مَنْ رَدَّ عَنْ عِرْضِ أَخِيهِ رَدَّ اللَّهُ عَنْ وَجْهِ النَّارَ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Whoever protects the honor of his Muslim brother or sister, Allah will cause the fire, He will protect his face from the fire on the day of judgment. You see the flip side of it. Protecting the honor of your Muslim brother and sister. This is a very serious thing. We have to get better at this. When you're sitting down with your friends and one of you guys, even if it's you, one of you guys starts speaking about somebody else, you gotta cut the line. You gotta stop it right then and there. You don't just sit there and say, no, listen, I didn't participate, I didn't say anything, I was just listening to what they... Ya akhi, you're one of them. What happened to Qawm Lut and the people of Lut? Not every person in Lut, in the tribe of Lut was performing that deed. Not everybody. But they all got destroyed because they were like, yeah, it's not us, it's them. They're doing it, it's not us. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. When this happens between you and your friends, in the circle of your friends, stop it. And instead, don't let them continue talking about that person. Say good things about the person, even if you don't know them. Imagine, this is your reward. رَدَّ اللَّهُ عَنْ وَجْهِهِ النَّارَ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Allah will protect your face. Would you rather be of those who are scratching their face? Or would you rather be of those who Allah protected their face on the day of judgment from hellfire? Now that's the decision you have to make, inshallah. Now, also on this beautiful day, these people who are protected from this, in the Quran it mentions وُجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ نَاعِمَةٌ لِسَعْيِهَا رَاضِيَةٌ. On this beautiful day, there will be faces. There will be faces, نَاعِمَةٌ. Beautiful faces, glowing, radiant faces. لِسَعْيِهَا رَاضِيَةٌ. Just pleased with their Lord, pleased with their deeds. Pleased, لِسَعْيِهَا. For the things they did, they're pleased. لِسَعْيِهَا رَاضِيَةٌ. Right? Glowing faces. Because what? They held themselves back from backbiting. They held back from doing the sins, from doing the haram. They're pleased with their, Ya Allah, alhamdulillah. I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I did this. And our deeds will shine on this day that is complete darkness. And you wonder why sometimes the scholars, I believe Hassan al-Basri was asked, radiallahu anhu, he said, they asked him, Ya Hassan, why is it that the people that pray tahajjud, they have such glowing faces during the day, even though we know they slept way less than us? They barely slept. But why is it the fact that they're glowing through the day? He said the fact because they are staying up with their Lord in the darkness. Allah gives them nur throughout the day. And not just nur in this dunya, but nurun fil akhirah. Even radiant on the day of judgment, inshallah. May Allah allow us to be a part of them. I know it's time for adhan, so I will leave it up to questions, inshallah. I had a lot more written down, but we can save them for next time. I know people got school. Do we have any questions online? Okay, any questions? Or should I continue till Iqamah? What do you guys say? Continue? Okay, I'll make it quick. How many minutes do I have? 9 minutes left. Okay. We spoke about the one who doesn't pay zakat. Now enough about the tongue. Inshallah, we'll go to the other sins that will be punished on this day. Bi'idhnillah. Now whoever is given wealth by Allah and he does not pay zakat on it, his wealth will appear on the day of judgment like what, Ali? Like a huge bald snake with 2 bald spots on it, 2 black spots over its eyes. It will seize him on the day of judgment and it will say, I am your wealth. I am your treasure. Right? وَلَا يَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ يَبْخُلُونَ بِمَا آتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. And let those who withhold from the bounty of Allah, right? هُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُمْ. They think that this is best for us. We keep it for us. بَلْ هُوَ شَرٌ. But truly it is worse for them. سَيَطَوَقُّونَ مَا بَخِلُوا بِهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Nay, it will be worse for them the things which they used to keep and hold. وَاللَّهُ مِيرَاتُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And on their necks, وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرٌ. On their necks will be a collar that they wear, and this is that snake that is choking them on the day of judgment. And the one who owned gold and silver, the one who owned gold and silver and didn't pay zakat on it, يوم يحمى عليها في النار جهنم فتكوى بها جباههم وجنوبهم وظهورهم. On the day of judgment, this treasure that they didn't use to pay zakat on, the gold and the silver, will be heated up in the fire of hell, and it will be tossed on their foreheads, on their sides, and on their back. And this is the treasure you hoarded. This is the treasure. فَذُوقُوا مَا كُنْتُمْ تَنْكِزُونَ. This is what you used to hoard. And the one who is arrogant, the Prophet ﷺ said, the arrogant will be gathered on the day of judgment. Allah will make them how small? Like ants. Those who are arrogant on this dunya, especially those, I'm the king of kings, I'm Malik al-Muluk, those dictators, right? They used to say things like this. Allah will bring them on the day of judgment as ants, insignificant on the day of judgment, humiliated in front of everybody. That's for the one who's arrogant. The one who conceals knowledge will also be punished. Meaning, a person who has ilm, Allah blessed them with knowledge. Allah blessed them with knowledge of Islam that could benefit other people. But what did they do about it? They kept it to themselves. Ya akhi, I'm no sheikh. Ya akhi, I'm this. I stick to myself. Nobody needs to know. I studied by myself. Everybody else can go study. There's people who literally, truly go attend the ilm and the knowledge, right? And that's what they'll say to you. You say, hey, can you please teach me something? Give me a little reminder. Ya akhi, go study yourself. Just like how I studied, you need to go study. Whoever is asked about knowledge that he has but conceals it will be brittled with the rains of fire on the day of judgment. May Allah protect us. And this is a sahih this is Hasan by Sunan Abi Dawood and Tirmidhi. Now, the ruler who used to not take care of his people. This is something that we can do or we can look at, especially in our Muslim countries, unfortunately. Sorry, thank you. So the ruler. So this is a person who was put in charge of Muslim affairs, and he pays no attention to the need of the people. All the rulers that we have today in the Middle East, corrupt, very corrupt. They're not paying attention to the need of the people. If you know there's a storm coming, at least warn the people. At least warn them. Build better infrastructure. These people will be punished on the day of judgment. And not even just that, Allah won't even look at them on the day of judgment. Imagine on a day, it's going to be so dark. You're going to feel the fear and torment, but you can't even see anything. You know how frightening? Imagine you're in a dark room and you just keep hearing scary noises. You don't know where it's coming. Just like that. That's how they're going to be on the day of judgment. And lastly, just for the sake of time, the one who lies about his dreams. In Bukhari narrated from Ibn Abbas, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever speaks of a dream that he did not see will be told to tie 2 grains of barley together, and he will never be able to do it. And whomever eavesdrops on people's conversations, when they do not like that, or they try to move away from him, will have molten lead poured into their ears. You're eavesdropping and telling your false dreams, oh wow, I saw this person in my dream, and wow, I saw the Prophet, and I saw this in my dream. You didn't see nothing, bro. Stop lying. And even if you have a good dream, keep it to yourself. Conceal it, keep it to yourself. Right? So these are some of the people who will be punished on the day of judgment, and there's a very, very long list. Like I said, if I just focus on this, we can easily go for 6 months straight worth of halaqas just on this, but I know we want to get to, inshallah, the shade and the throne of Allah, the day of judgment, speak about Jannah and Jahannam, inshallah. So I think here is a good stopping point. Let me open it up to questions. Any questions? Inshallah, we're all scholars. Alhamdulillah. Alright. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. استغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Let's read that. Yes. Oh yeah, the flyers. I forgot to hear talk about it.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan, Abdullah, for your amazing lecture. If you guys notice, Sister Nawad put up 2 flyers in the sister section, and then there's 2 flyers in the brothers section. One of the flyers is labeled as the Mass Colorado Wednesday nights. They're both QR codes. If you guys can scan them before you leave, that way we're able to track, who's coming consistently, and then track our progress in growth within Mass. Yes, to send promotions, events, that way we're able to network and outreach to more people. The second QR code is labeled as the Mass Colorado Graveyard Visit. Now, as a quick reminder, this Saturday, September 16th, at 7 a.m., we're meeting at Crescent View Academy to do another service project, service cleaning, at our Muslim cemetery in Bennett, Colorado. We've posted it on our story. Their QR code is right there. We ask if you guys want to attend to please, 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 please scan the QR code, register in advance. That way we can get a head count for food in the morning, breakfast, and then whatever the case is, water. That way we're all prepared. Important thing, if you guys plan on coming, please, please, please bring appropriate work attire and PPE, your personal protective equipment, okay? So, not latex gloves, working gloves, something that's thick, something that can guard against weeds. So again, Saturday, September 16th, 7 a.m. If you guys are interested in helping, So again, emphasize, if you guys want to come, you have to sign up on the QR code, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم